Listening unit teaches us that listening is not complete unless understanding happens. We are talking about listening and comprehending. So this unit teaches us that listening is not complete unless understanding happens. You must be able to understand at the end of every listening. When an information is passed, with under the GST103, we said something is data, something is information. I said there is no data, there is no information without any data. Information must be passed first. So data must be passed first before it is processed to become an information. So same thing applicable here. This unit teaches us that listening is not complete unless you have understanding of what is actually saying. It must be complete. If you are told to go and fetch water, you listen to it, you heard it, but you didn't go and do it, which means you didn't complete the task. So listening and comprehending is where you listen and you're able to comprehend, you're able to follow up, you're able to do the needful. Many students hear lectures but still fails exam because they listen without comprehension. Many students hear lectures, listen to this, they hear lectures, but at the end of everything they still fail because they listen without comprehension. When you listen without comprehension is when you listen without direction. You are a scalar quantity here. Example of a scalar quantity. You don't have any direction, but you have magnitude. So you are listening, but you don't have direction. You are listening, but you don't have comprehension. You don't know how to comprehend it. You don't know how to make it work. Example of this is you attend a lecture at University of Lagos. The lecturer talks for 2 hours. If you only hear the voice but don't understand the point, you did not truly listen. So let's look at this. It says you attend a lecture at University of Lagos. Then the lecturer talks for 2 hours. If you only hear the voice but you don't understand the point, you did not truly listen. So it's very simple and short. You can see this. So imagine you attending a lecture for 2 hours and all you could hear is just the voice of the person. You can't actually say this is what the person says, this is what the person talks about. At the end of everything, you cannot even say, oh yeah, this is what I've learned. So that means you did not truly listen because you can't comprehend it. So listening plus understanding leads to effective learning. If you listen and you understand, that is when you can make use of it. That is when it can boost your learning. That is when your learning can increase. So let's take a look at the objectives. What you should do. After reading this unit, you should be able to explain how listening and comprehension works together. So after this, we should be able to explain how listening and comprehension works together. You should be able to know how to understand what you listen to, how to identify things that disturb comprehension. So at the end of this section, we should be able to identify things that disturb comprehension, things that does not allow us to be able to comprehend, that stops us from being able to comprehend and understand well. So let's go into the topic. The first content is, let's look at the relationship between listening and comprehending. Listening and comprehending is two different things that is connected together here. Two different things that is connected together. So let's look at the relationship between them. Listening and comprehension are inseparable. Like you cannot separate them. They are together. They are combined. There is no way you listen and you will not be able to comprehend. So you listen in order to understand, and you understand while listening. Can you see that? They are together. They cannot be changed. They cannot be separated. If you listen without you comprehending or without you understanding what you are listening to, that means you don't want to make use of the listening skills. So you don't want to make use of the information that you were being that you actually listen to. For example, you are listening to a radio or they are doing an health talk and it says brush your teeth every morning. You hear that, But instead of you waking up to brush your teeth, instead you, you did not do it. You didn't brush your teeth in the morning. Then the second day again, same thing. And when you were to brush your teeth, you went to there, you did that in the night. So that actually means you did not understand what you listen to. Because you listening to something, you listening to a particular thing, is for you to be able to make use of it and to be able to boost your academic success. But while you are listening to that, you are not even putting attention. And at the end of everything, instead of you to ask a question, you left it like that. You said, yeah, you will catch up with it later. So this is basic relationship between listening and comprehending. Then let's look at the important ideas in this. Let's look at the important ideas in this. Number one is some listening. Like, not every listening requires the same attention. Yeah, that's true. It's not every listening that requires the same attention. So for an example, some listening equals casual. Yeah, some listening are casual. Listening to a gist in a hotel, listening to your friend. Maybe your friend is telling you a story about his or her boyfriend and girlfriend, telling you a story about what is going on in his or her place of work. Those things are just casual listening. So the kind of attention you pay to that is actually a casual attention. You might be doing some other thing and be listening to the person. While some listening is serious, you have to pay full attention. Now, example is you listening during GST or statistics lectures before exam. What you are doing now is a serious listening, because you have to pay attention to this. It is a serious listening. Good students adjust their listening level depending on importance. As a good student, you learn how to adjust your listening skills depending on the importance. Yeah, you cannot be carried away with something that is casual, and when it comes to that you need to be serious about, that is when you are now playing, and that is when you are now getting distracted. It's not good. That's a very bad way of listening and comprehending. You pay attention to things that matters. Pay attention to things that can add to you, not things that doesn't matter, not things that will not add to you. Example is this our classes. Make sure you pay attention to it so that you'll be able to grab everything that is coming out. If not even everything, at least you'll be able to grab a lot of things, at least 70%, even more than. So the next one is listening comprehension. Listening comprehension. So to comprehend well, what are the things we need to do? This listening comprehension is you hearing properly. So to comprehend well, what do you do? What are the things you need to do? So the first one is you need to listen attentively. That is the first way to you hearing properly. So you need to pay attention. You need to listen attentively, like focus fully. You need to focus fully. Example is don't press phone during lectures. Although our brain can multitask, but you should only multitask to things that are casual, not things that are supposed to be serious. A 1 hour concentration on a particular course or in a particular teaching will not stop you from pressing your phone later. Sure, you understand? So let's pay attention. Let's listen attentively. What I'm saying every time, you will not see it in your course material. The examples I'm giving, you will not see it in your course material. So that is why you need to listen attentively. You need to focus fully. Then the second one is follow the speaker. You need to pay attention to explanations and examples. Let's pay attention to explanation and examples because it will help. Imagine you are inside the exam hall and they ask you a question, and what you are able to use to understand is the example that was given to you. Maybe you remember that the facilitator said, or I said, when lecturer says write this down, it is likely an exam point. And remember that what you wrote down was the same thing. Like, you can actually use that example to get the meaning of what you are looking for. So that is why you need to follow the speaker. You need to pay attention to every explanation and examples, because they are going to be needful. So examples on this is when lecturer says write this down, it is likely an exam point. When I say write this down or take note of this certain thing, it is likely an example in exam point. So it is likely an exam point. So let's go to another way to listen properly, which is having good vocabulary. Having good vocabulary. Jesus. Having good vocabulary. So let's in our own understanding, understanding improves when you know subject terms. Understanding improves when you know subject terms. As example, a mass communication student must understand words like media, audience, communication channel. Have a good vocabulary. What we mean is not you going to the dictionary to go and learn how to talk, or to go and learn how to speak all these big grammars. No, that is not the meaning. You learn about your course material, you learn about your department, like learn about, for an example, the majority of us does not know the kind of career we can build with the course we are doing. Majority of us does not know what the course we are doing can actually add to our life, like what you can do, what you can create for yourself, the impact you can make with the course you are studying. Majority of us, I'm not sure we've actually done that research before we pick the course. Some will just say, yeah, let me go for this course. Yeah, I just want this certificate. Some will just say, yeah, let me just go for this. That is what my brother is doing. That is what my daddy said I should do. So you understand? You need to understand. You need to understand. If you are a mass communication student, you need to know. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand the meaning of some words there. As a mass comm student, you know that mass communication is when you are passing information to the media through any channel. So you should be able to understand the meaning of media, the meaning of audience, and other communication channels that are involved. You should have an idea about them. You should know how it works. Then the fourth one is recognize speech structure. Recognize speech structure. So most lectures follows this pattern. Yeah, introduction. You are going to look at the introduction first, the main point, then the explanation, the summary, and conclusion. These are the ways most lectures have been drafted out. So you need to recognize speech structure. As a listener that wants to comprehend, you need to follow up with this. The first thing I will do also is to introduce the course, then is to give us the main point, then is to explain and summarize everything and give us questions to do. So while following up that, you'll be able to understand and comprehend with what I'm saying better as a student. So we should be able to recognize the speech pattern, the speech structure, how it works, so that we'll be able to gain what is needed. Imagine you not following up with the lectures, and when we are dealing with the main point, in your own mind you thought you are still doing the introduction. So the kind of attention you were supposed to actually give to the main point, you were giving it to the introduction, that actually they have not started the main point. At the end of the day, at the end of everything, you will not be able to catch up at the end of everything. So knowing this helps you pick key ideas quickly. When you know this, you'll be able to pick key ideas. You'll be able to pick key ideas quickly, because when you are doing introduction, you know that you are doing introduction, that these are the objectives, these are the things you need to put your mind into. And when you enter the main point here, you know that okay, this is when I'm supposed to type, this is when I'm supposed to write, this is when I'm supposed to hold on to key ideas quickly. So the fifth one is use of experience. Use your experience to connect lectures to real life. There's none of us here that has not been to secondary school before, so we know how it works. You use your experience in academics, in your learning skills, you add it to your real life. Example is when learning marketing, think about traders sell goods in local market. You see these clear examples. So for an example now, for us to use our experience, we have computer science students here, we have different departments here. So let me use this marketing as an example. Let's use business admin as an example. You as a business admin student, you should be able to think how to make a business grow, how to administrate a business, how to start a business from the beginning to the end. How do you do this? Connect it to the real life. Maybe you have a sister in your street, you have a sister in your estate, you have a brother, you have a mentor that started from somewhere. You think about how that person started, what the market is giving. You might not really know the composition of everything, but from the outside, what you can see, you learn. You see how you connect it to your real life. You see how you use those experience to connect lectures to your real life. Then number 6 is show interest. Interest improves memory. Interest improves memory. It's just as if you want to eat a food. You are given a food to eat. The food is sweet, or the food is just normally cook and normal sweet food now. But you don't have an interest to eat that food. And you are being forced to eat that food. If you want to start eating it, or if you start eating it, you are not going to have this good taste of the food because you don't have interest on it from the beginning. But imagine you are given a food and you have that interest from the beginning. You see that the food is going to be delicious in a very different way. You might even be salivating self just to eat, and you even request for more. So that is how it works. Anything you put your interest in, it will actually improve your memory. Students who likes a course usually scores higher. See this clear? Students who likes a course usually score higher. It is the course that you like that you'll be able to read better, that you'll be able to develop how to pass better. Let me use myself as an example. When I was in 100 level, I like chemistry. I like chemistry so much. So chemistry 101 as a computer science student, chemistry 191. I actually did well in them. Yeah, I had A's those two courses because I love them so much. Then I like biology too, but I don't really, because biology is too voluminous, but I just like it. So students, the course you liked better, maybe from how it is, you like it very well, you will see that you will have much advantage on it because there's an interest you've developed on that particular course. There's an interest, so anything you read about that course will add to your memory, to improve your memory because you are learning it with joy, you are learning it with interest. So you are learning it with interest, you are learning it with that joy, so it will actually improve your memory and it will make you learn well. So let's go to the next part. Let's look at the factors affecting comprehension. So let's look at the factors affecting comprehension. So for an example, these are the things that reduce understanding. So these things reduce understanding in the sense that not familiar with topic. When you are not familiar with the topic, the first time exposure without preparation. Example is entering economics class without reading beforehand. So you want to look at the factors that affect comprehension, the factors that affect you being unable to understand what you are listening to. Reason why students does not understand. That is the part we want to look at. So the first one is not familiar with the topic. Yeah. When you are not familiar with the topic, it actually reduces your understanding. Yeah, you are dealing with a topic that you are not familiar with, sure you get, it will really, you are not going to understand from the beginning. First time exposure without preparation, you are not prepared. Yeah, assuming that we want to start this course now, GST101, and you have not opened your course material before, or you just registered as a fresher. Yeah, the things you are going to be talking about, or the things you are reading in your book, is going to be as if it is the first time exposure with you. Yes, but if you have prepared, or maybe you have an understanding about maybe the first page you read, for an example, we did listening enabling skills. So let's say that first point, now listening enabling skills, you are familiar with it, or you've heard it before, or you've read it before you joined the class. You are going to understand better than the person that is just joining for the first time without any exposure at all. So not familiar with topics can actually reduce students not to understand, or can actually add to students not to understand some particular topics. So example is entering economics class without reading beforehand. All of us, we know how economics might be. Economics is interesting, but at the same time it is a complex course. So imagine you entering an economics class without reading beforehand, and you are asked the question that, yeah, tell me this, tell me that. That is when you will not be able to say anything. So this is number one factor that might affect comprehension. So let's look at the second one: lack of concentration, noise, phones, tiredness. So lack of concentration can actually make you student not to understand. In the sense that, yeah, you are not concentrating. The noise, the phone, the tiredness. You see that sometimes if you are doing this class, there will be noise from the background of some other people that didn't mute their calls. You will see that it's going to affect us that are listening, because we will not be able to concentrate. Imagine us hearing like 4 different things at the same time. So this is not a good idea. This actually does not help students to understand. This does not help them to understand very well. Then let's go to lack of interest. Lack of interest. I hate this course. Mindset blocks learning. This is very common to us. Even before you join a particular course or particular course class, you'll be like, I hate this course. I hate this course. Then even me, I used to say it, yeah, I hate math, I hate physics. It's very common to us. What you hate, there's no way you can learn from what you hate. Because from the beginning, your mindset has blocked the learning from that particular course. So don't let us create that kind of mindset. Don't let us have a negative mindset. Some students will say, oh, now is even, yeah, I don't even understand anything. I'm trying to do this, I don't understand. I'm trying to do this, I don't understand. Now it's stressing me. Now, why are you complaining? Why not look for, yeah, okay, how do I do this? I've been trying to do this, but it's not possible. How do I do it? That is the kind of question that you are supposed to be asking. Not now, this and that. I'm stressed. I don't know how to do that. How will I connect it with my job? How will I do this? How will I do that? It's not working. Don't let us have that kind of mindset, because it actually blocks our learning. It doesn't give us strength. Instead, it will reduce our strength. You will feel relaxed. Yeah, you're going to feel relaxed. So for this particular GST, don't let us have a lack of, like, don't let us develop lack of interest. That I hate this course. No, let us do this course with our, like, with interest. Let's develop interest, so that you'll be able to learn better, so that you'll be able to understand better, so that this particular course will work for you and you're going to pass it well. So let's develop that kind of interest. So let's go to the next one, which is limited vocabulary. Limited vocabulary. So not understanding the subject terms. This happens a lot. Maybe the facilitator or the lecturer or the teacher is using complex grammars. Maybe they are using grammars that it is after the class you can go and check the meaning, or you don't have time to check the meaning, or the facilitator will not tell you the meaning or what it actually means. So it happens like that. Not understanding subject terms. We are talking about GST101, which is use of English and communication skills. This heading itself will actually make you to understand what you are going to be talking about. Use of English and communication skills. And even this unit that we are dealing with, see that it is unit that is listening and comprehending. The word listening and comprehending is not a vocabulary that you are not supposed to understand. So that is why this limited vocabulary is like giving you subject terms that you cannot cope with, that you cannot understand at the particular instant, is a bad idea. It doesn't make students to understand, or it doesn't make them to be able to comprehend. Now, every vocabulary we have been using in the beginning of this lecture, every vocabulary that we have been using from the beginning of these lectures are very simple grammars, are very simple vocabulary that we can understand in our own time. We are even using Nigeria examples, what we do every day. So let's go to the next one, which is the poor thinking ability. Yes, this actually affects a lot of us. Poor thinking ability. It will not make us understand. When the facilitator said 1 plus 1 is 2, and instead of you to understand that 1, just single 1 plus another 1, you add them together, it becomes 2. You are still waiting for someone to start using pen or to use a biro to count 1 on the paper for you, to add it to another 1 on the another paper to make it 2. So we need to learn how to think faster. Like, it might not be really fast, but at least learn how to think deeply. Think to learn. So let's learn how to think deeply. Let's learn how to increase our thinking, because poor thinking will actually affect. It will actually affect. Let's learn how to analyze information deeply. Everything I've been saying since now, let's learn how to make use of this. Let's learn how to grab it, like in your own understanding. Analyze it deeply. Take it to heart. The examples I'm giving, break it down in your own time. Yeah, when I say A go to B, understand that A go to B, not B going to A. So that is when you'll be able to assimilate it and be able to make use of the information deeply. So that is for that under the poor thinking. So we've actually talked about five ways that students don't understand, or 5 ways that affect students' comprehension, which is not familiar with the topics. All these things, they reduce understanding. It's not as if you will not learn, or it's not as if you will not cope. You will cope, but it will reduce your understanding. It will reduce your impact in that particular course. In a course that you don't like, that you say you hate, you cannot expect yourself to get 100. You cannot expect yourself to get 70. Even if you get 30, so you'll be like, maybe I don't talk and say I don't like this course. See. So that is why it will reduce your understanding, and it will affect your academic growth. Yeah, imagine you not understanding a subject term. I use mass communication as an example. You don't understand the meaning of mass, you don't understand the meaning of communication, and you are a mass communication student. It is going to reduce your level of understanding, because anything they are talking about using the word mass communication, you will not understand. And the first thing for you to ask is the meaning of the mass communication, so that you'll be able to grab every other thing they are saying. And for the concentrating part, if you are tired, tiredness, you can actually leave it. Sorry, please. is the Zoom itself. So I was talking about the concentration, about tiredness. If you are tired, you can actually rest for that moment. Rest, regain your strength back. Before you continue. Because if you are tired and you are learning, you will not be able to understand it. At that particular moment, you might understand, you get. But as time goes on, the second day or in the night, if you ask you that what did you learn in that class, you will not be able to say anything, because you learned out of tiredness, not because you were fit. So that is why it actually reduces understanding. It actually reduces understanding a lot. So let's go to the next definition. So under this particular course, there's a comprehension under this course material that I can't just, because they are very big. So, and it says you should listen to another audio, stuff like that. But I just have to remove the important part and break it down that can add to us. So under that section, we are given the factors for choosing a marriage partner. Yeah, we are talking about use of English and communication skills, and communication matters in marriage life. Maybe that's why they added it to it. Yeah, but the communication is very important in marriage life. So this section uses comprehension practice through a social topic. Marriage brings two different people together for life. Before marriage, people consider certain factors. Yeah. So what are the first factors we consider under this? We consider the physical attractiveness, which is beauty matters, but should not be the only reason for marriage. Nigeria example is someone marries only because of the fine face or Instagram look. Marriage may fail without character. This is the first factors to consider if you are choosing a partner, because it is the physical appearance that will attract you first before every other thing. So beauty matters, but should not be the only reason for marriage. Yeah, it should not be the only reason for marriage, but it is the first thing that will always attract partners to each other. So let's look at the physical size. Physical size is height or body is not important. Physical size, height or body is not important. So many successful Nigerian marriages involve tall woman plus short woman, slim partner plus big partner. Character matters more than body. Yeah, marriages, we deeply believe that characters matters a lot. What you have in you, what you can do, your behavior, your character, your what you can add to the person's life matters a lot. So the physical size does not really matter. It's not as if it does not matter, because we are looking at certain factors we need to consider before choosing partner here. So it's not as if it doesn't matter, but it is not important. So far you are able to get attracted to this person for the kind of character, for the kind of things he or she could add to you. Yeah. If God says yes, it's going to be a successful one. So another one is age. Age itself is not a main issue. What matters is maturity, responsibility. So what matters is maturity, the responsibility, the life goals. So these are the things that basically matters, not the age. Yeah, but they are telling us that these are the certain factors we should consider. They are not telling us not to consider this. They didn't say we should overlook this, but these are just the things you need to consider. But at the same time, they are not important, because they are not the main issue. Example is a 23-year-old NYSC graduate may be more mature than a careless 40-year-old man, a 40-year-old woman, or a man rather. So Age does not matter. At least you can do person that is older than you, person that you are older than. Yeah, if it is something that suits the person or both partners, they can actually cope with it. So age does not actually matter. So let's go to the summary of the whole unit. So listening is useless without understanding. According to the topic, it says listening and comprehension. So this is very understandable. Like, we listen and you understand. You listen and you understand. So the moment you are listening and you are not understanding, you should know that your listening is not effective. You are not listening very well. You are not listening properly. So effective comprehension requires attention, interest, vocabulary, and focus. And effective comprehension and effective understanding. Another word for that comprehension is understanding. And effective comprehension requires attention. Before you can understand very well, before you can understand fully, you need to pay attention. You need to show interest. You need to be able to be familiar with the subject terms, with the vocabularies that they use in that particular topic, and you need to focus. Let's use nursing as an example. For you to become a nurse, you must have interest. You must be able to pay attention. You must be able to be familiar with the subject terms, and you must focus. While they are teaching you how to hold a syringe, how to put their liquid drugs inside, how to use them, and you are not paying attention. Maybe while they were teaching you, you were busy pressing your phone, or you were feeling reluctant, you were showing that you are tired, that you were not paying attention, even though you had interest. But if you have interest, you will pay attention, because all these things work along. Something that you don't have interest on, you cannot develop attention for it. Something that you don't have interest on, you cannot be focused on it. At the end of every day, at the end of everything, they tell you to go for a practical. Maybe they gave you a rat to practice on, and instead of you to do it properly, you went to shoot the rat in his head. So there is going to be issue because you were not paying attention. The same thing applicable to our physical course materials there, or things we do. You are not paying attention to your course material. You are not showing interest. Yes, I don't like English. I don't like English. You get to the exam, or what you don't like is there. Like, the point is, this is a must course for you to pass. So why are you showing lack of interest? If it is not added to you, now here we say, yeah, there is a lady here in Oluwa. She registered French for an example. Let me use her. She registered French for an example. Now, she cannot say she's having a lack of interest for French, because if you develop a lack of interest for the French you register, you are going to come back again to do it. So which is by fire by force, you need to develop interest for it. You need to pay attention to everything about that particular course material for you to be able to pass it, and for you to be able to scale through and go to the next semester and do the next course. So that is why all these things are very important. We need to apply them to our listening so that we'll be able to understand better. Then let's look at the things that stops us from understanding properly. Lack of concentration, poor preparation, reduced comprehension. If you lack concentration, if you don't concentrate, if you cannot focus on a particular thing, if you cannot put your mindset in a particular thing and make it work, you will see that it's going to reduce your understanding. Yeah, even if it is a trade that you are learning, maybe you are learning how to sew clothes, you are learning how to repair anything. If you are not concentrating, you go take for there. Instead of you to use maybe 9 months, 10 months, you will see that you are ending up using 2-3 years. That is because of the lack of concentration. And poor preparation can also reduce your comprehension, your understanding. You need to prepare ahead. You need to prepare your mind. It's just as if you want to go and play ball and you are not fit, with no training, you are going to fuck up. So you need to prepare. You need to prepare your mind for some courses, for all your courses. Know that it is a by fire by force that you must pass all these things. So you need to learn how to concentrate. You need to be disciplined, and you need to pay attention to them. So when we actually added marriage, we said marriage success depends more on maturity, health, character than appearance or age. So marriage success depends on those three things. It depends on your health, depends on your maturity, depends on your character, than the appearance or age. Yeah, than Not that it does not matter, but than. Alright, so let's take a look at the objective questions that are here before we go to the practice questions. So the first one is, please let us try to read this from our own end and understand and pick the correct answer. So listening is considered incomplete when there is no dash. It says listening is considered incomplete when there is no dash. Okay, Inioluwa. Inioluwa, can you hear me? Alright, so she said comprehension, which is the B. So listening is considered incomplete when there is no comprehension. It is incomplete. You have to understand. If you do not understand, it doesn't have any meaning. So the second one is, which of the following is not a step in listening? Which of the following is not a step in listening? Okay. Inioluwa. Interrupting the speaker. Yeah. Interrupting the speaker. That is not among the steps of listening. If you want to listen and comprehend, if you want to listen and understand, you don't have to interrupt the speaker. Even though you have a question, wait until the speaker is done. Then you can now say, I have a question to ask. So the third one is, which of the following can affect comprehension? So which of these following can affect comprehension? Esther. Esther, can I hear you? Okay, Esther is not here. Not here. So, Inioluwa, what's the answer? Lack of vocabulary. Yes. So for the rest of us that are not raising up our hand or that does not want to contribute, I hope we are understanding this, because this is the objective. This is how the question is going to be asked in the exam, and I feel like we should be able to try our best to at least connect with ourselves and interact, so that we have the better understand. Don't just be a listener and not someone that understand. At least if you answer, it shows that you understand what we are saying, even though you miss it. Nobody will just of you are here to learn. Alright, so the fourth question is, the main purpose of listening. What is it? Like, the main purpose of listening during communication is to dash. Yeah, to comprehend the message. So the main purpose of listening during a communication is to comprehend the message. You are able to comprehend the message. You are able to understand the message. So that is still the meaning of it. Then number 5, which factor is often overrated when choosing a marriage partner? Which of these factors they have been overrated? Like, what they overrate the most? Physical attractiveness. Yeah, physical attractiveness. It is so overrated. It is physical attractiveness, because you will see a guy telling you that a guy can still cope. I feel like it's ladies that believe in that mostly. Yeah. Tell you I want a tall, dark skin with sparks and whatever. Yeah, so it is overrated in choosing a marriage partner. That is the most overrated thing, physical attractiveness. So let's go to the fill in the gap section. Let's go to the fill in the gap questions. So the first one, listening without dash is useless. Listening without that is useless. Okay. For us that are raising up our hand, let's just answer. So yeah, just answer and don't make it noisy, just answer and you rest. So listening without comprehension is useless. So how do we write our comprehension? Is the C going to be a capital letter or small letter? Yeah, small letter C. So you write it as comprehension, small letter C. So listening without comprehension is useless. So let's go to the second one. The ability to understand what is heard is called dash. The ability to understand what is heard is called dash. Word called comprehension. Comprehension. I know you want to say how are we going to write this thing down? Most of us use a capital letter. Yeah, capital letter. If you are defining anything, you say ability. I don't know if we are able to get that. When you are defining something, is this a definition? Yeah. Okay. It says the ability to understand what is heard is called comprehension. Yeah, that's true. The C is capital letter. So let's put our mind in that. So another question, number 3. One important requirement for listening comprehension is paying dash attention. Paying dash attention. That should be the answer. Paying what? No, that grammar is too much. So one important requirement for listening comprehension is paying dash attention. Like the requirements for you to listen and understand is paying dash attention. Like yeah, you paying full attention. When you pay full attention to part of our skills here, we said something like lack of like you concentrating, you able to pay full attention to something, to the class, to the lectures. So you are paying a full attention. It is a important requirement for listening comprehension. You paying full attention. So that is for that. If you are to write the full, you use small letter FUL. FUL. So another question, number 4. Lack of dash can affect the rate of comprehension. Lack of dash can affect the rate of comprehension. Yeah, lack of concentration. Thank you. So lack of concentration can affect the rate of our understanding. So if you are to write the concentration down, how do we write it? You see small letter C. Thank you. So the C will be in small letter. Then number 5. Limited dash of a subject can reduce understanding. Limited dash of a subject. Limited what? Knowledge. No. We didn't use language instead. We used another term instead of language. You can. Okay, the course material says knowledge. Said limit. The course material use language. The course material use knowledge. Which of them is correct? Limited language of a subject. Yeah, language. So limited language of a subject can reduce understanding. When you have a limited language of a particular subject, when you have a limited vocabulary on a particular subject, it can reduce your understanding because you will not be able to flow up with it. So the next one is, in a speech, the 3 major divisions are introduction, main body, and dash. Conclusion. So the C will be in what letter? Small letter. So the C will be in small letter. The introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. Those are the 3 divisions of a speech. Then before marriage, there is usually a feeling of dash or strong attraction between partners. What is the feeling? Before marriage, yeah, there's usually a feeling of dash. No, there's a particular 4-letter words that we need to put in there. And that we are, yeah, the feeling of love. The feeling of love. You must feel it. You must feel the love, yeah, first, for the strong attraction between partners. So another one is physical dash. alone is not a strong foundation for marriage. Yes, physical attractiveness, it is not alone a strong foundation for marriage. Number 9, good dash is important when choosing a marriage partner. Good dash, it is important when choosing a marriage partner. Good good character. Yeah, good character, but we said maturity dash and character. So the maturity dash and character, there is what is inside that dash is health. Good health. Yeah, when you have good health, it is important. Character is there also, but yeah, it is health. Good health is important when choosing a marriage partner. So the H is going to be in small letter. So let's go to the number 10. People who marry very dash usually have higher divorce rates. People who marry very dash, is it old? Early, yeah, you can use early. People who marry very early usually have higher divorce rates. Can somebody convince me on that? Is it something that is normal? Yeah, because all right. Yeah, young, not early, young. People who marry young, very young. Yeah, instead of early, very young. But for that young, is there age rate that is there? Are you with the course material now? Did they indicate age rate there? Is it like or what is there? So I asked a question. Okay, that's what is there. Okay, I asked a question. I said, why why is it that can the young people that marry they have higher divorce rates? Can anyone convince me on that? Like somebody that married at the age of 20, 21, 22. So you're telling me that the person has an higher rate of divorce rate, I like to divorce. All right, I'm listening. Because they're not yet matured. Okay, but according to what we did today, it says a 23-year-old NYC can be matured than a 40-year-old man. Okay, so what you're saying is that for marriage, we need life experience. Or for marriage to last long, we need life experience. So why can't we go and be watching movies that will give us experience? Yeah. Oh, all right. I believe you, but at the same time, I believe that women are the ones that are supposed to be able to control the home, the family or the home. How will I put it? When the lady is balanced, when the lady is having a mental experience of how to balance the home, yeah, it will reduce the higher chance of divorce. That is not true. Sorry, who is talking? I can. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. All right. Yes. And they're, yeah, very young, sir. All right, sir. Yeah, thank you for enlightening us on that. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's believe that is what is inside the course material. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's another thing. But why is that possible? That is possible because of still the environment. Because maybe the woman wants more, and from what she's seen in the environment, maybe social media, things like that, because they can actually grow together and build themselves and still have higher income. So I don't see anything that is bad in you, yeah, marry with low income. Even adults are marrying with low income, and at the end of everything they build themselves. Yeah. So there is a solution to that also, if they are if they know what they are doing. So thank you, sir. So let's go to practice questions. Yeah, let's look at the practice questions about today's course. So the first one is, explain the relationship between listening and comprehension using examples. So we have been talking about listening and comprehension. So you can explain this in just maybe in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes, to explain it to explain the connections between listening and comprehension using just one example at least. All right. Yes. Yes. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I like that response. That's a very good and thoughtful answer to that. So thank you so much, Inioluwa. Is there anybody that can add to this, like in your own understanding? Listening and comprehension, how does they connect? We said comprehension means understanding. So you are listening and understanding. What is the relationship between them? Anyone else? Okay. So let's believe we understand this. The relationship between listening and comprehension. Like you can't listen without understanding. According to the example she gave, she said she's a Yoruba lady, and my bad, and somebody is beside her speaking another language, which is Urobo. She might not be able to understand. It's like she will not even be able to understand this because she doesn't know how to speak their language. But instead, she'll be seeing their mouth movements. She will know they are communicating. They are trying to say something, like they are saying something, but she's not understanding. Even though they want to sell her, she might not know. Yeah. So that is basic example of that. So we are listening and we are understanding. So we should listen to things that we'll be able to understand well. So question 2, mention and explain 5 factors affecting comprehension. Let's start from 1. So who can tell us 1 or 2 of the factors affecting comprehension? Yeah. All right, sir. Okay, yeah, tiredness. Yes, sir. All right. So can you just explain it, even if it's just like 2 statements or whatever? Just explain. Yes, yes. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, sir. Ajayi Omobukola, ma, can you answer for us? You have been raising up your hand since so. Yes, sir, we cannot hear you, ma. Yeah, okay. Alice, Alice, can you hear me? Yeah, I saw you raising up your hand under the comment section. That is why I called your name. So, about the five factors affecting comprehension. In your lower, can you say the remaining two? Yeah. Yes. 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 All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lolua. So let's go to the third one. Discuss three important factors consider when choosing a marriage partner. So this is something we should all know, yes, at least. Even though most of us are not married, but we'll soon be. So is there anybody that can just brief it out for us, maybe in just 2 minutes, the three important factors here when choosing a marriage partner? Okay. So I believe none of us is married. That is why we don't know the factors. I mean, none of us want to choose. Okay. For me, I will say one. I will say, okay, you want to try? All right. Yeah, let's go by the first material. Then you can back it up with your own. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I will say, is there anybody that wants to add to it? All right, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, money. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, sir. I'm trying. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, we actually we actually learned something from that. Something from that. So that's very important also. All right, sir. All right, man. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Mama. So you actually learned one or two from this, at least as a guy, as a lady, you've learned. So thank you very much for the solutions, for the answers, for the additions to everything. So I hope we learned a lot of things from this. So we'll be having another class in the afternoon. Yeah, we are going to start that one. I will send timetable. I think it's around 2. Yeah. So please let us try as much as possible to be available. And the recording will be sent for most of us that want the recording. Just send a DM so that we'll send it to you. So that you'll be able to watch it later. So thanks very much. If you have any question, please. If you have anything that is battling, like that is troubling you, come to my DM, please. All right. So thanks to everyone that are actually here. I really appreciate. Thank you. So we see you in the afternoon. Bye for now. All right, Mama. Yes.